Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Talking from the Cheap Seats. I am Rumble,
I am the Gazoo.
and we're here because we can talk sports.
Better than you. With a
All right,
nosebleed, of course.
all right, brother. So
Let's talk about the nosebleed that is the Boston Red Sox. Might as well get into it. Probably the biggest story of the week. Biggest story, I mean, especially in New England, ongoing story. And we just passed the trade deadline, yesterday?
yep.
And I don't know. Red Sox went, I mean, they're not looking good. And
How do you say they're not looking good? They just took 2 or 3 in Houston.
what they do before
They
that.
just went and they just and they took the weekend before. Yes, they were 1-2, but they were close in those games. I think the Sox have battled back. Okay,
All right,
and one
all
thing
right.
that people don't understand is you're playing right now without Trevor Story. You played those games without Devers. You're playing with a shitty first baseman platoon
Well,
and
that just changed.
hold on, and you're playing realistically. Not for nothing. Jared Duran's come to earth. You know,
Maybe
and
he's
we'll
not the
just call it.
prospect everyone thought he was.
I think that playing in Boston, New York, LA is a whole different apple. I think
Yeah.
it would have been. I think it would have been a different. Like if he got to break in with last year's outfield, having Verdugo, having a healthy Kike Hernandez, and having a Verdugo. I'm sorry, Verdugo, Renfro, and Hernandez, and he was just the fourth guy. I think it'd be a lot easier for him. I think playing center field here in Boston and knowing who's like, I'm not saying Ricky Henderson has patrolled center field in Boston. Let's not be crazy. But you've had some good ones in the past
Otis
few
Nixon?
years. No,
No, remember
Jacoby
we had Otis
Ellsbury.
Nixon.
Yep. But Otis Nixon couldn't hit his weight, but was a great defensive center fielder
All
in the major leagues.
Here's my issue. Like, before we even get into the trade talk, which I'm not going to lie, I think the Sox, and I said this to you prior to us going live, they were neither sellers nor buyers. They really did nothing to improve. They improved the team in the spot where they needed it, but they're not a team that drastically improved. And I think we'll spend a good portion of time on this episode discussing, because there is some stuff I like that they didn't do. But here, my point is the Sox, it's Jared Duran was a top 20 prospect in all of Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Don't give me the excuse playing in Boston and New York and LA. Listen, you want to be a pro ball player, you're a top 20 prospect, you should be able to play anywhere in the civilized world. And
not saying that
the kid was, once again, and the problem with New England, and we've done this so many, you and I, we have gone back and forth, I think, in the past on certain prospects, but I think
New England has nothing to do with pumping the unleaded on Durant.
Way too much thought into some of our prospects. And I'll be honest with you, I look back at some of the prospects that they put this is the next coming of Daniel Bard, the next coming of Pedro, and guess what? He sucked. All these prospects that we put all this, like, this is the future, and they're nothing. They're nothing. It's hit or miss with prospects. And honestly, I don't want to hear that this kid can't play in Boston. You know what? You want to be a pro ball player? Play in Boston.
I just think that they've had easier times with letting their younger players get acclimated to the system. Devers, Bogarts, both didn't get thrown into the fires right away. You know what I mean? They got acclimated into the system. They got comfortable. Jacoby Ellsbury, another one that was able to get comfortable.
He was a center fielder.
Yeah, but he wasn't expected to hit lead off right away. There's a lot of these guys.
Here's the difference, though. He did,
and he was able. He was one of the ones that was able to persevere.
And he became a friggin' Yankee.
But
anyway,
it don't matter. Like, listen, Duran I think Duran's going to be one of those guys that improve. Like he's going to be one of the guys that improves year in and year out. And by the time, but like in 2 years from now, we'll be talking. This Jared Duran will be one of the top notch defensive and offensive. You know, I'm sorry to say, but Boston is a hard place to play, brother. Sports talk radio, it's hard to escape. It's hard to escape in Boston. Ask people. That's why a lot of people.
I get it. Listen, we live here. I know.
Yeah, I know that.
But,
thick-skinned people have to play here, you know.
But you know what though? Again, if you can't handle it, then
I don't think it's him not handling it. I think in the minor leagues they're not used to playing as many games. Not number one, and number two, I don't think the pressure in Portland and in Worcester.
But that's the point, Jay. You just said it.
You know,
if you want to be a big league ball player and be a top 20 prospect, you have to be able to handle pressure.
Oh, I agree with that.
Right?
I just think Duran, his best years are to come. I think Duran's the type of guy. Hear me out. If Duran is the type of guy that hits 250 and gets the 20-something stolen bases, and with a couple of these other young guys that maybe the Red Sox don't want, one of the main reasons why there's so many rookies in the pitching staff this year, that what if the Red Sox are trying to highlight some of these guys to go out, and then the Red Sox are notoriously known for going out and picking someone that's like a 25 or a 26-year-old top-notch prospect who doesn't resign with the club and then gets the big bucks. The Sox have been notorious for it. Yeah. So I think the Sox are looking, that's my honest opinion.
So there was... So let's get into obviously the trade, because trade talks.
Let me finish about the Sox too, and where they're at and what they're doing. The Sox are basically a 500 team right now. They've just finished. They went 2-1 against Houston, which again, they're beating the teams that quite possibly they may face in the playoffs.
Except for the teams in the American League East.
Exactly. I think they have to finish, but listen. I'm not going to lie. They have to do better against the East teams. If they get in there and they're the 6th seed, right now, if the playoffs ended tomorrow, I watched the whole thing on it, the Red Sox would face I believe it's the Minnesota Twins, if I'm not mistaken. The Red Sox have owned every other division except for the AL East, which makes it look good for the Red Sox on paper. You know what I mean?
The 6th seed but the 6th seed would be the third wild card, right? Yeah, the 6th seed.
No, they would get the third. There's 3 wild cards and 3 home win, then 3 division winners.
Right. The 6th seed.
The 3 division winners. The 3 division winners are 1, 2, 3 automatically. Okay. Yeah. 4, 5, and 6 are determined. So the 6th will go to the worst of the division winners, and right now the worst.
Make sense. Why would 6 go to the worst?
Listen. Wow. I want on. That's the way it is. I don't know. I'm not.
I would have assumed 6 played 1.
I said me too. Yeah. But if it ended tomorrow, when I was watching Felder and Maz, this is where I got it from. Earlier today, they would face the Minnesota Twins, and they've owned the Central. They've owned a lot of the other teams. So, I mean, and that's what between 83 and 86 wins right now. It's projected it's going to be the 6th seed. I look at it this way: the trade deadline is come and gone.
Yep.
The Red Sox right now.
Trade deadline.
Hear me out. Hear me out. Right now, to me, on paper, the Red Sox are better now than the way they started the season, other than hitting behind the plate. Kevin Plawecki is regardably known as a lot of the pitchers like to throw to him. Evaldi likes to throw to him. Sale likes to throw to him. So Vasquez, this is the rumbling. The reasons are that the pitchers enjoyed throwing to Plawecki.
Okay.
And that's why Vasquez came expendable.
Oh,
for the
I
two
get that. Yeah,
prospects.
I
Okay.
agree. I would agree. I heard that too.
Okay.
And you know
Okay.
what? I just want to touch on this real quick. It was a touching thing from Vasquez. You could tell he enjoyed. I didn't realize how long he was with the Red Sox
Longest
organization,
tenured Red Sox
but
that's up.
he for people who don't know, they're actually watching this. After he was traded, it was kept somewhat quiet, but obviously they were playing Houston. He was traded to Houston, and he had asked if he could take batting practice one last time with the Sox, and it was obliged. Alex Cora was like, "Absolutely, kid, go right ahead." And that was after he was traded to the Houston. So the kid loved Boston, but you know what? I was I've no love. I mean, no, I'm not losing any sleep over losing Christian Vasquez. I liked him. I think he was more of a rah-rah guy. I mean, he was an above average catcher at best. We've had better catchers. We've had worse catchers. But it sucks to see the kid go. He's tenured, but that's the name of the game.
Plawecki can't hit his weight, but I like Plawecki behind the dish.
Not many catchers can do. There's very few catchers. You and I both, I think you'd agree. There's not many Pudge Rodriguez ever coming up. I mean, at Veritas, at his best, I think was hit average 260 or 270. That was at his best. The 2 years that he was at the top of his game. Jorge Posada, I think at his best was like a 290 hitter. Maybe hit 300 at one time, but Pudge is really the only catcher that hit his weight. Maybe Sandy Alomar at one time, it was Sandy Alomar that was the catcher. But
Roberto Anson, there was good hitting catches.
Roberto was
in
the
90s,
second
man. There was good hitting catches in the 90s.
I mean, at the end of the day, catchers, their job is to call the game with the pitcher. Then catchers aren't meant to hit over 300. And Mike Piazza was probably the only other one, and look what happened to him. He moved away from catcher and went to first base. Speaking of first base.
All right, so I look at it this way. The Red Sox, other than the catcher, the defensive part of the catcher, I like Plawecki back there. Okay?
Yeah, I like him back there. He can
Hosmer's Gold Glove material.
So former All-Star, hasn't had good years. Last good year was like what, 2017, 2018?
I think 275, 9 home runs, and 43 RBIs.
I know he was like an All-Star Gold Glover back in 15, 16, 17 era. Maybe he gets his game back. He's defensively good.
What's not about having your game when you're a 270 hitter with 9 dingers? You're gonna come here, you're gonna end up at the end of the year.
Now.
What?
Park, right field. I mean, that's a different. That's a different ballpark.
And he's gonna learn to, and eventually will learn to use the monster.
That's what
and quite possibly can elevate his average to around 290 by the end of the season.
Is he a good opposite field hitter? I don't know.
We'll see.
About him.
We'll see. I know Hosmer's a great clubhouse guy.
That's what I heard. I heard people were raving about him.
Okay. I think the infield now, if you were to tell me going into a playoff series that you got an infield, the Hosmer, Story, Bogarts, and Devers, and then your corners of Verdugo and Pham with either Kike or Durant. Tommy Pham.
And you center field is JBJ, right?
JBJ is on the bench, buddy.
But isn't he probably one of the better defensive outfielders that there are?
I think you need somebody right. Yes, but I'm sorry to say that even Durant you can't hit, man. You need Tommy Pham was a great acquisition for nothing. The Red Sox gave up nothing yesterday to solid themselves. So I'm sorry for and I'm going to say this. People are fools right now for not thinking that the Red Sox made out yesterday. Okay? They got 2 legit major league talents for nothing. They gave away Christian Vasquez, who is a free agent at the end of the year,
And
and
very well may come back.
and he's a middle tier catcher.
Right.
Okay, he's not below. He's above. He's a notch above average. Okay,
Yeah, he's an above
but
average.
he's not worth.
above
He's
average
not
pick.
worth a $19 million tender, 1 year tender.
No.
Okay,
No.
that is the main reason why Evaldi and JD Martinez are still on this team, because they will be offered at the end of the year. Okay, instead of getting free agents, they're gonna do the 19. And I can tell you this: sources are saying right now that there's a good chance that both Martinez and Evaldi accept the 1 year tender.
I think Evaldi accepts the 10 year. I don't think JD will be in next year. But
I think JD like, but bro, JD Martinez likes it here. I don't, and there's a lot of the experts are saying that Martinez ain't gonna get $19 million.
No, he ain't getting 19 million. Not the way he's hitting this year. No.
Okay, but he's hitting He's hitting high 280s.
Yeah, but
with 10. Yeah, I know he's got 10 home runs, 40 RBIs.
Yeah,
listen, he's common.
He's paid to hit 300 with 20 to 40 dingers and over 100 RBIs.
Yeah,
and you're not doing that. You're not hitting your weight.
But also, the Red Sox lineup doesn't have the usual it has in it. The lineup. Let's just face it. The lineup has not been healthy all year. There's always one person or two people missing. That's why to say the Sox are 2 games out of a playoff spot with the people that they have been missing in the lineup, and at one point they threw 5 starts in a row, rookies. For you to be 2 games out of any playoff spot. Just think about that for a second. In Major League Baseball, to throw 5 rookies and still on August 1st be 2.5 games out of the 6th spot in the playoff race.
But Jay, they talked about this today on the radio, and because it ties into this.
Yeah.
Is the Red Sox, the problem with the Red Sox are they're not you're saying playoff spot, but the problem is that's all they're playing for.
That's right.
All Chaim Bloom is
it's
playing.
Positive.
But they're not trying to build a championship team. They're building a playoff team to go into the playoffs, say we made the playoffs, and then lose.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I'm sorry to say, winning to a certain extent means everything. And as in a business equity, that's how you're able to justify the ticket price and whatnot. Because every night, win or lose, you're sitting there watching a team that makes the playoffs consistently. Baseball to a certain extent nowadays, Capelli, I'm sorry, Gazoo is just like hockey to a certain extent, where all you got to do is make the playoffs.
That's different.
Hold on.
Baseball playoffs are different than hockey.
Man, come on.
They are, though,
nowadays, it's not. When 6 teams are making it compared to 8 teams in the NHL, what, 2 less isn't considered?
Jay, but
32, it is because half the teams now are realistic. Like, come on, man, half the teams in the league.
Listen to me. The NHL, listen to me. Hear me out. Hear my point out. In the NHL, it's been proven over the years. All you gotta do is you have to be a team good enough to make the playoffs, and it can change. Baseball is very different.
So why can't baseball be like that?
Tell me the last time the 6th seed or 4th seed back, think about it 2 years ago. When's the last time the 4th seed went into the playoffs?
The Red Sox, 2018.
Who?
The Red Sox, 2018.
They were the
They're a
number one
wild
card
card team.
Right. And
yes.
how many games were they out of that by what they missed it by 1 or 2 games?
It doesn't matter. What if both teams were one game over 500?
If you're playing, if you're building your roster to try to be just a playoff team and not a championship team, and that's what they talked about today on the radio. The Red Sox have not made moves, but here's the thing, right? I like the fact that they didn't move Devers or Bogarts because there is hope. And they talked about this, and I know you heard this on the radio today. I hope you did, that they almost have to sign the two of them because that was the big thing we were told a couple of years ago when they let Mookie Betts go. It was because they wanted to be able to cap guys like Devers and Bogarts sign long term. And if we had signed Mookie Betts, we never would have been able to do that. Well, here we are. It's coming due to be crunch time. Are they going to re-sign Bogarts and Devers?
So,
because they're here, they didn't get traded, and if they don't get traded,
I'm gonna honestly, to a certain extent, I'm gonna agree to disagree because I believe the baseball playoffs is setting up to be just like basketball, just like hockey, and just like football.
Bro, basketball, you and I both know, if you're not a top 4 seed team, very few teams win it, come in from the 8th seed and do anything.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand that. But I'm just hear me out. You're letting 50% of your league into the playoffs to give them a run. And as far as I'm concerned, right now, Major League Baseball, the Red Sox are basically going to be a team that when it's all said and done, come September, is when they'll have 100% of their lineup. So they're not true to the form where they was to where they began to where they will end, is what I mean. So say the Red Sox are the 6th seed. They're 2 games above 500 they finish. And they make that 6th seed and win a World Series. But yet, the lineup that they have at that time in September and October would have probably made them a team that was, say, a 95 wins team instead of an 87 win team, if that makes any sense to you. You know what I mean? So realistically, how can we judge a low seed to a high seed? Can't we just say that when you're in the tournament, whoever is hot can come out of this thing? To a certain extent, that any person has a chance when you have these many teams. I would agree when it was the old day and they called it the pennant and it was the East versus the West. They went on and then bang, the World Series happened because you had one team from the American League East, one team from the American League West, one team from the National League East, one team from the West. And then it was just, you had the big boys. So there wasn't that team that say LA is the best team in the West. But the last month of the season, San Francisco caught fire, but finished 3 games out. But theoretically, if there was a wild card playoff format, they could have won. They could have been the hottest team and maybe won the world championship. So nowadays, I just think if you get a ticket to the dance and you can be hot and you're the least injured team, that's why I just think it makes it so much more exciting in every league that you're given the opportunity to win. Like, look at it this way. The Red Sox in September could have a healthy Eovaldi, a healthy Walker, a healthy Sale, a healthy Hill, and who's the other guy there? Oh, and Pivetta. 5 really good horses. And Tanner Houck pitching where he should be. the kid last night who pitched, who closed out, was it Houck that closed it out 89? Because it's Houck and Whitfield. What's
Whitlock.
it? Whitlock.
Yeah.
Those two guys are in the bullpen. The guy the other night that pitched a great game that cut a Crawford. The Red Sox right now, man, I honestly believe that if they get the bats in the lineup together collectively, you're 2 to 3 games out in August. I think no matter what team you are, what fan base you're in, if you and I were in San Diego and we're 3 games out, I think we're looking at a damn fun August compared to 13 games out. You know what I mean? 3 games ain't a lot to ask with 3 months left of the season. It's not a hard
2 months left.
Technically 2.5 because they play till the first
week.
The
end of September, right? It's the end of September.
Usually 10 games, and it's around 10 days into October before it legit. But I think it's going to finish up September this year because of the expanded playoffs.
Right.
But still, 2 months left. A game and a half a month. I think the Sox got as good as a chance as anybody else, and I like our chances right now. I like what the lineup could look like. I like looking at that.
Right.
Do I?
Go ahead. You finish. Go ahead.
No. Ask me.
I was going to say, because I want to end it on this question before we jump to our next topic. You say you like our chances. All right. So I'm gonna ask you this one question. Red Sox in the playoffs, you honestly think they can beat the New York Yankees? Be honest. Don't be a Red Sox fan.
No, I'm not going to be.
Okay. All right.
Who's the kid that's the ace pitcher for the Yankees that can't find the strike zone for the life of him come the playoffs?
Not just the pitcher, bro. He's one player. That whole fucking team.
I understand that. I understand that.
And the crazy thing is with that team,
all they do, hear me out, all they do is hit home runs. They're not a base-to-base team. They're not an average team. We have seen over our lifetime many 100-win teams look like Godzilla and go down like adamant. Have we not?
All right.
Have we not?
Question. Do you feel the Red Sox, if they make it, can do that?
If you're telling me we have a healthy Evaldi, a healthy Chris Sale, Nick Pavetta's on point. Who's the other guy we got there? Pavetta. Oh man, I'm having a mind fart. If we have Sale, Pavetta, and Evaldi, because usually you go 3 starters. You know what I mean? Michael Walker as your 4th, or the other kid there that's like we got 5-6 starters that legitimately. But I'm just saying, if you got a healthy Pavetta, a healthy Sale, and a healthy Evaldi, I think that's a great 3. And then
that doesn't answer the question. Do you think?
Yes, I believe, and I honestly believe that the Red Sox lately come facing the Yankees, like Pedro said, we're their daddy.
All right.
There's something about when you're just a home run hitting team that it falls apart. I just got this. I've never liked being that team that won 105, 110, 115 games. Because then when you come into playoffs, I just think teams is playing you different, man.
Of course they are. It's playoffs.
I just think it's a whole different atmosphere, a whole different dog. And I'm not saying the Yankees go down, but I'm not trying to be that I'm a Red Sox homer. But I'll take Chris Sale, Nathan Evaldi, and whatever you want to give me behind that. No lie. Pavetta,
All right.
Walker, the other kid, Pavetta, Walker, and then you got the other kid there that's I keep on forgetting. Man, you got a lot of good. You got some good veteran arms in the Red Sox
You
arsenal.
answered the question. I heard it. I will see what happens. So let's
I think the
transition.
team. I honestly think the team to beat
It's the
could
New York
be.
Yankees.
It is the Yankees, but I think I think any team could get hot. I think
All right,
any
fair
given
enough.
Sunday.
So let's change. Let's go from the boys of summer to the monsters of the gridiron. Let's go. Let's transition to the NFL. And I think before we get into the Patriots talk, let's get into. We talked about this prior. Let's get into a big decision that came down about one Mr. Yankee Cranky, Hand Dookie. I like my massages. Deshaun Watson, and the NFL passed down judgment. A 6-game suspension. Well, a 6-game suspension was handed to him by Roger Goodell. Today, you and I have learned that the NFL now has been approved to appeal the case,
Yes.
and they want an indefinite suspension of Deshaun Watson. Let's talk about that. What are your thoughts on this?
I think in today's day and age, I mean, if it was 2 or 3 that used to work for the for the Houston Texans, it was 2, and he had 2 or 3. But when you tell me there's 20 to 30 women that
Yep.
have justified complaints, even if it's just being lewd conduct or whatnot, being rude and him not knowing, it's still a fact. That
And where
and
he's
he
made
made these
settlement
people.
payments,
Yes,
make a settlement, you're guilty, my friend.
yeah.
You made a settlement, you're guilty.
But what does he get? Like,
He's
what's
guilty
he?
of propositioning. Well, I think part of it
What's
was
he guilty of?
propositioning women for sexual acts, number one. And number two, in some cases, kind of forcing the act to happen. And that is what he's guilty of. They found he did, there's enough evidence there that he made these women either feel uncomfortable enough when he did the, do you know who I am, and blah, blah, blah. And, or he propositioned enough women to say, I'll pay you X amount of dollars. I want a hand dookie, or I wanted this, I wanted that. At the end of the day, bro, that's illegal. It's illegal. But he did it, like you said, it wasn't just 3 or 4. We're talking 20 or 30 women. That's a fucking problem. That's a problem. If this dude can't pick up a broad and walk into a bar and say, hey, my name's Deshaun Watson, and have 20 women jumping all over him, that dude's got a problem.
See, I didn't know it was that bad. I didn't think any of these women. I didn't think any of these.
The point is some of them, the ones that came forward, and then they had enough evidence, and they had to settle out of court. When you settle out of court, that's the unwritten rule of saying you're guilty. Yes, I'll settle with you out of court. I'm going to pay you X amount of dollars to shut the fuck up.
But the thing is, can I tell you something? Yeah. So what? Like, the thing is, all these cases are said and done with. And now, because the NFL doesn't like the type of person he is, how hard is it just to say, dude, you're done for a year?
Well, that's the problem. The NFL didn't. They said 6 games. Just, it goes back to.
No, the NFL didn't say 6 games. The non-partial arbitrator.
That's right. You're right. That's right. My bad. The problem is the NFL was going to accept that, or Roger Goodell was going to accept that, and the NFL said no. It goes back to, think about this. They've gotten you gave Ray Rice a 1 or 2 game suspension for slapping the shit out of his wife until it went ballistic and people were like, are you nuts? But then you give Tom Brady a fucking 4-game suspension for allegedly, and there was never really proof that it happened. I mean, I think we all know air was coming out of those balls, but you gave a guy a 4-game suspension to doctor a fucking football with air. I mean, the problem is this doesn't look right. I mean, this is a major star player. It shouldn't matter if it's a major star or not, but this guy's a major star player in the league who just got a $230 million fully guaranteed contract, and he's out getting fucking hand dookies and making these women uncomfortable. You can't. You're right. It should have been, the NFL should have said, buddy, you're suspended indefinitely. But the problem is they won't do it. And it's you know why? And you know why they won't do it? Probably partly because of the union.
Yeah.
I would imagine it's probably has something to do with the union. But they're looking at it like, because they know Sean Watson's going to make them money. And some people in the NFL are probably going, well, just, get it under the rug in 6 games. And yeah, that's fine. Let's get him on the field because he's going to make us money. He's going to draw ratings. He's going to sell T-shirts. He's the new face of the Cleveland Browns franchise, blah, 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 blah. Me personally, I'd be like, fuck you. Just go take a hike, pal. I would void his contract and be like, you're done, pal. You look at what you did. You're done. See you later. Get the fuck out of here. I wouldn't want that drama.
Unfortunately, the Cleveland Browns cannot do that because they knew what they were getting into when they traded for him.
And that's in the language of that contract. So,
you know.
But your thoughts? I mean, what are you gonna do?
Well, I was led to believe it wasn't that erroneous. I was led to believe it was just maybe some improper language and things of that nature. But it is what it is, man. You got 30 chicks that you made feel uncomfortable, and you're trying to pull your power. It's not a cool thing. No, either way, you slice the pie.
If that was 20 years ago, those women would have been paid hush money and told to shut the fuck up. And then that kid would have had a career. Now that shit goes down now in the days of social media. And that's the thing. Part of this is, you're going to have these activist groups going saying, what the hell? How are you letting this guy? Look what happened to Michael Vick.
Yeah.
When he tried to make his comeback after serving prison time, there were still people saying, get him the fuck out of the league.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Look at some of these other players. I mean, it's not like he was an alcoholic and he's suffering alcoholism and people are saying, okay, he's fighting his demons. He's having trouble fighting demons. No, the dude's a fucking perv. He's a fucking perv. He likes to go get his hand dukes. What do I want to tell you? Yankee cranky. Give me that happy ending, sweetheart. Oh, my name's Deshaun Watson. Here's the $1,000. If you don't do it, I'll never come back here again. Shit like that. Who knows? So.
Yeah, well.
Big story in the NFL.
It is a big story, man. Don't you know what I mean? It's and
it's kind of taken away, I think, the last couple of days from what is looking like some interesting training camps out there. I mean, you got to think too, right? NFL wise, this year we had a lot of moving fucking parts this year. Tyreek, the other big news kind of hits home a little bit here. Miami Dolphins have their first-round draft pick taken away from them last week. I mean, from this next upcoming one for tampering with Tom Brady. The Patriot.
In 2019, yes. And it was before the season even started.
Yep. They tampered with him, and they took their first-round draft pick away.
First and third,
yep. So... But it makes things interesting because now they're stuck to Tua. Now you need to keep Tua. Like, if you wanted to get rid of Tua next year, you can't. You ain't drafting nobody. You ain't getting that first round draft pick that you think you might have got. But you got a lot of moving parts this year. I mean, look, a lot of new coaching. I mean, the Las Vegas fucking Raiders. That's going to be an interesting one to see. Devontae Adams. Sean McDaniels, Derek. I want to see how Derek Carr looks. I mean,
Sean McDaniels.
No, I mean Josh McDaniels. I'm sorry, I was thinking Sean McVay for some reason, but no, Josh McDaniels over there. You know what I mean? You got some interesting moves there. What's his face going? You got Russell going to Denver. Does that bring Denver back to the promised land? Do they become a true contender to go up against? Kansas City and in that division? I think that's the best division of football. this year, that's the best division of football. You got the Chargers, who, I mean, Herbert is still a hell of a quarterback. Chargers still a hell of a team. You got the freaking Raiders. You got the Chiefs. You know what I mean? Those three teams right there alone, they're going to be contenders.
Can I ask you a question?
Yep.
How do you say that Justin Herbert still he's only been in the league for 3 years, 4 years. I mean, still he's a guy that's escalating and transcending. I'm sorry to say that. To me, Justin Herbert is probably top 3 in the all of the NFL.
I'd say that. I wouldn't say top 3. I'd say top 5. He's definitely my top 5. I wouldn't say top 3. I unfortunately I still have to put Aaron Rodgers ahead of him, as well as Josh Allen. And
Aaron Rodgers can't win.
He listen.
He proves it in the playoffs last year.
He
like
gets
he
the
choked.
team to the playoffs. They win the division. They get to the playoffs. Right? We had this conversation.
Yep.
Get to the playoffs. It's any man's game.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's be honest.
I like Aaron Rodgers.
Had his way.
But right now, I'm going to say this.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers never would have beat them 2 years ago if they kicked the field goal when they should have.
Aaron Rodgers is actually on my list higher than that.
I think Aaron is top 5. I think Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, second best quarterback in the league.
I agree. Overall, yeah, I agree. But
I think right now the best quarterback in the league. He makes his residence in Buffalo, New York, and his name's Josh Allen.
You think he's better than Patrick Mahomes?
Yes, I do.
Can I ask why?
Because he legit gives you. It has nothing to do with the younger. I just think on the ground as an effect, I think Josh Allen has become like an immovable object to a certain extent. Like,
right, so I'm not gonna agree to disagree with you, but what I'm gonna say is
I believe right now it's Josh Allen. Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, okay. Justin Herbert, and then we make lists.
Who would your fifth be? Would you consider your fifth still Russell Westbrook, or
Russell Wilson,
or Russell Wilson? Sorry, or would it be Tom Brady?
No, Russell Wilson's definitely ahead of Tom Brady in my opinion.
Really?
Yep.
All right, fair enough. All right. I'm
Tom Brady to me is top 10. Like right, Tom Brady right now, I don't care what anybody says. But still, those top 10 quarterbacks are 10 guys that, if they're given the right teams, are going to win Super Bowls. How's that? Any one of my top 10 could honestly be a number 1 the next year.
All right.
Depending on what they do for a team.
After the end of this season, I'm going to remember this conversation because this is a good one. I want to see how Patrick Mahomes does without Tyreek Hill.
I hear the guy that they got in the draft this year is supposed to be real good.
That's going to determine for me whether or not Josh Allen is the true number 1 in the league, or if Mahomes is the true number 1. Because in my opinion, that's Mahomes' title right now. But we're going to learn a lot about Patrick Mahomes this coming season, not having someone like Tyreek Hill to throw downfield to.
Who do you fear coming at you running? Josh Allen running, or do you fear Patrick Mahomes?
I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, Josh Allen's big, but he doesn't have the same type of moves that Mahomes does.
But he'll run you over. He is 265 pounds. And will run you over. He is Dante Culpepper 5.0.
You don't have a 20-something year career if you're running like that.
I understand that, but the way he's played, man, I'm just saying, it's hard for me to say this, but another Buffalo quarterback, again, the best in the NFL.
All right, well, we'll see. Like, he's in my top 3, but let's see. So,
Buffalo, in memory of my buddy, the Daddy Cat DC Dillinger, the Buffalo Bills, and you've heard me now, the Buffalo Bills will go on and they will win the Super Bowl this year.
All right. We'll get into Super Bowl predictions later in the month. All right. Last 4 minutes. Quick, brief. Let's talk Patriots the last 4 minutes. We got 4 minutes to talk to Patriots. Let's talk Pats.
So you're gonna talk stupidity on what you've heard on the radio, or you're gonna just go upon what people like, if you follow Patriots Nation, like legit fans and people that are at and watching the practices are saying?
I'm going by what I'm seeing. I'm not going by what the radio says, because if you listen to one show, they're anti. You listen to the other show, they're talking the pros and cons and the good and the bad. I'm going to tell you from my vantage point, from what I see, is it's a work in progress. I can't really give you a definitive opinion of what I think of this team. It's very incomplete. I think this team is, I don't like the fact that Belichick is not working with the defense at all. At least that's what we hear. But he really is spending all his time with the offense, and specifically Mac Jones. I don't think that's a bad thing per se, because I think he's trying to bring the kid along. But I don't think that defense should be left to his son either. With that said, the offense is up and down. Sometimes they look phenomenal, and other times they look like shit.
We are running a totally different offensive scheme that there's not one person who's an expert on the Mike Shanahan offense.
So, my opinion is right now, I'm interested to see what I'm going to get on the field. That's what I'm interested, because I have a feeling, and I'm going to throw this out there, and I'm going to let you take the last.
They're saying Parker's looked real good.
I'm going to tell you this. I think the Patriots are I'm going to call it high risk, high reward. They're the type of team that they can go. They're just, to me, they look like the type of team that 1 week you're going to see a team that be like, holy shit, this team can contend with anybody. And then I think in other weeks you're going to see this team, they're going to be like, where is this team going? Like, what is going on? High risk, high reward, I think. Again, incomplete opinion, and I'm going to let you take it from here.
Well, I believe the Celtics are a 10-win. I'm sorry. I believe the Patriots are a 10-win team this year.
10-7.
10-7.
Probably not going to get you to the playoffs. Likely not getting you to the playoffs. Based off of last year's numbers, 10-7 won't get you to the playoffs. It's a winning record, but that's not a playoff team.
So
it's in contention. You think 10-7? It's funny because if you go back to our episode where we did predictions, neither one of us had the Patriots with a winning record.
Really?
Yes, we'd have to go back and look at that week that we did the show. I forget what episode, but neither one of us had winning records for the Patriots. All right, so 10-7. Okay.
10-7, and I believe in the AFC, I believe 10-7 gets you a wild card berth. The worst wild card berth there is.
Okay. All right.
I think the play of football is going to continuously go down year in, year out by the way they only practice for 2 hours a day.
Well, practice on field, then it's indoors and training. And
there's no such thing as,
yep.
There's no such thing as 2-a-days anymore to begin the season. And that's why I think you get the vanilla play that you get in the NFL nowadays.
Yep.
Is that there's not enough practice time.
All right, 10-7 when you say take a wild card. So you think
and they're the last wild card team.
And you think the Patriots, would you say Patriots finished second in the East now? Or do you say they finished third in the East?
Oh, the Patriots second in the East. I'm being honest with you. I think the Miami Dolphins are fool's gold. I think the worst thing that the Miami Dolphins did was piss off Brian Flores. He had a good thing going there in Miami. Who is even the coach in Miami? Okay, there we go.
That answers
All
your
right.
question.
And no matter how the people want to say, oh, the Jets have the best draft, drafts don't pan out for 2 to 3 years down the road.
Okay.
Jets are still. I'm putting to you this. How do you? I'm gonna say this right now. The Dolphins. The Dolphins finish 9 and. I'm gonna say this. The Dolphins finish. What do we play?
9 and
17.
8.
9 and 8.
All right.
I think the Jets finish 9 and 8. Patriots 10 and 7. And I think the Bills. Just hear me out.
14.
I think the Bills will be a 12 and 5 team. And I'm going to tell you why. I believe the Bills are going to get beat up around the third or fourth week of the season. They're going to barely hold on, okay? Then they're going to get their players back and they're going to play their best football just like the Patriots used to. The last couple of weeks in November into December, and you're not going to run into the Buffalo Bills. And I believe the Buffalo Bills this year will not only earn it, they are going to doubly earn it by winning the last 2 games of this playoff stretch on the road. I think the one only home game that the Buffalo Bills will have this year will be to open the playoffs. After that, you'll see Buffalo go on the road 2 more times, and Buffalo will go to the Super Bowl, my friend. They will be the hottest team the last 7 weeks of the NFL season. And quite possibly at one point in time, the Buffalo Bills may actually fall to under 500.
I disagree with you, but yeah, maybe the first 2 weeks of the season.
That's what why not? If you're finishing if you're finishing 12 and 5.
Yeah. All right. So let's switch gears here. I didn't get a chance to log in, but obviously based off of the big conversation we had last week, a lot of changes happened, especially in the world of sports entertainment. We've had now a SummerSlam.
Oh, wait a second. We didn't talk no Celtics.
Listen, there's nothing to talk about the Celtics. I already said this
There's
to you.
1 second of Celtics right here.
There's nothing to talk about.
As far as I'm concerned, at this point in
I don't want to talk about. The only thing
I'm glad, Kevin. Are you listen? I'm wasting 2 minutes on it. Are you glad that Kevin Garnett is here? I mean, that Kevin Durant is here or not here right now?
I think he should be here. I think he should be here. I'm sorry. I said we talked about this last week. I would take 4 years of Kevin Garnett than 2 years of Jaylen Brown. We said that last week, though.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying, would you have pitched him here by now already?
Yeah, I think he would have been here by now.
Do you think by the time we talk next week that Kevin Durant is in a Celtics uniform?
No.
Okay. Do you think the talks subside and Kevin Garnett remains?
Kevin Durant.
I'm sorry. Kevin Durant remains a Brooklyn Net.
No, because I know he's meeting. The report came out. He's meeting with Nets ownership to discuss things that he's really unhappy about. I think ultimately it's going to be a meeting of telling the Nets, if you don't trade me, I'm not playing.
Yeah.
So no, I think the trade would have happened by now. I have a feeling another team's going to come in and scoop him up.
Okay.
I have a feeling.
Do you think that's good or bad? Or do you believe that maybe quite possibly down the road that Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart are sent to Utah for a combination of Mitchell and some draft picks?
I think Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown, if the trade's going to happen and we do get Durant, I think what happens is in order to make it happen, maybe Danny pull. It's a 3-way deal. We get Durant, they get Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart, and then Brooklyn gets some picks and what's his face.
I like that.
Yeah, that could happen.
I like. You've heard it here, Capelli. That's a great Capelli.
Yeah, that would be a good deal,
bro.
I do want to point out one thing.
Gazoo. Best That's a great 3-tape. That's a trade. Ping, ping. That's a, as they
That
say,
would
that's
be.
a traded Danny specialty right there.
I
A
know.
3-way dancer.
I know. There is one bit of Celtics talk, real quick. It's unfortunate, but the legend has passed. Bill Russell passed away.
That's right, man. It's
The
too
guy
bad
that
that,
holds the single most championships in NBA history, probably one of the greatest players of the greatest player of his generation, probably one of the greatest centers of all time, and I would say top 5. He's in my top 5
oh
all
yeah.
NBA.
Never seen him play. My father
Never.
told me a lot about him.
They said that he could play. If he played today, he would be a stud in today's game.
Oh
If he
yeah.
played in the 60s, if he played in the 70s, he would have been a stud. If he played against Jordan, Magic, and all those guys, he would have been a stud. Everybody says it. He
Yep.
redefined the game. They talked about how when he came in, people weren't blocking shots, and he said, "No, we're blocking shots." They talked about how a lot of guys back then were shooting two-handed. He was a very one-handed shooter. Sad to see him go. Honestly, a Celtic, that's the end of the Red Auerbach era. Tommy Heinsohn, Heinsohn's gone.
Kuz's the only one left.
Kuz is the only one left.
I believe so.
Yep, Kuz is the only one left. But
And JoJo White.
yeah, that's right. Is JoJo White still alive?
Oh yeah, he's around still.
Okay, but still, I mean, it's Bill fucking Russell. I mean, I always felt that he never got enough of the.
I think Havlicek's still around.
No, I thought Havlicek died, but he could be. But when at the end, you're right. But
Dave Cowens.
Yeah, but he wasn't as big as Russell and Tommy.
I got you, but
and
still,
Ray,
some of the. I mean? I'm just naming off Golden Boston Celtics.
Guy really to redefine the game. People don't understand that. The guy was well beyond his. He is a generational player.
Yeah, I agree.
He should. People don't say it when they talk about, who's your all NBA. He's never put in and you listen to all these people, they never say Bill Russell. It's always, it's LeBron, Kobe, Jordan, this one. I was like, guys, I think if you were to ask a guy like Shaquille O'Neal, he'd say Jordan and Russell 1-2.
Yeah.
Guys like Kevin Garnett, the guys, they're like, he's top 5 in the league. If you're making an all NBA team, your center is Bill Russell. In my opinion, that's your center. You put Bill Russell as your center, and not because he's a Celtic, because of what he was able to do and how he transcended the game. So, all right, there's your Celtics talk. You happy? We're not even talking about this team. There's nothing to talk about here. Nothing. That's the sad part.
Disappointing.
Disappointing very much. So let's give me 10 minutes of what was SummerSlam in Raw, which I will say I was extremely happy with the matches on SummerSlam. I thought the booking for the 85% of the booking, 90% of the booking was great. And I thought this was one of the best Raws I've seen in probably a year or two, to be quite honest with you. How
did Raw kick off again? Was this the one that was an hour dedicated? Okay.
No. Becky comes out, and I loved it because Raw comes out. Everybody knows Becky turned at the end she separated her shoulder, but she turned face. But she was turning face no matter what. And this was a Triple H decision. They've already said Vince was never turning Becky face, and Triple H said, nope, she's a face. And I loved it because they did it right. They wrote it right. It felt like it was real. It was, I lost myself. I forgot who I was. And then she started, the title doesn't define me. I defined the title. The man doesn't define me. I define the man. And then Becky, then Bianca comes out and says, you're right. Nobody defines you. You are the man, and led it into the whole, she'll come back as the man character and as the hungry, I'm refound myself gimmick. Once she comes back from the separated shoulder, likely going to feud with Bayley when she first comes back, because I have a feeling Bayley will have that title by then. but it was perfect. It was well done. Well done. Then on Raw, we're getting these triple threat matches for the number one contender, and the matches were written amazing. Good stuff, good wrestlers. Raw was just,
Will Ricochet get a push like a Mustafa Ali did? That's just
you know what? I'm going to tell you right now who I think the people that should be in. I'm going to tell you the people who I think are going to get that you're going to see finally get the pushes deserved, and the people who I think really are going to see the people that are going to be pulled back. I'll start with the ones being pulled back. You're going to see Omos pulled back. He's not getting the push from Triple H that he would have got from Vince. I think you're going to see Theory pulled back. I think Triple H likes him, but I think he sees a lot of the same things that some of us see, like too quick, too fast. He needs more build-up to be the next quote-unquote John Cena of the WWE that Vince was trying to cram down our fucking throat. I think you're going to see, I'm going to be honest with you, I think you're going to see Charlotte Flair pulled back a little bit. When she comes back, it won't be throwing the title right at her. And then probably going to see guys that are getting the push. You're going to see Finn Balor get the push. The Judgment Day eventually they're going to do the right thing with them. They're going to get the push. Those are three people that Triple H loves. I think you're going to see Ricochet with the push. You're going to see you'll see Alexa and Liv Morgan stay pushing hard. You're going to see they've already talked about Naomi and Sasha Banks have already in negotiations to come back to the WWE. I love the fact that we see Dakota Kai released in April, already back. That's a Triple H decision. I think you're going to see Johnny Gargano back in the WWE within a year.
Yeah.
And then I think you're going to see the biggest thing of them all. I think within 2 years' time, we are going to see the Forbidden Door finally smash the fuck down, and you're going to see, and I'm going to tell you exactly how I would book it, brother, and you know it. I think you'd love it. You're on national television. You're on Raw. Okay, you got a match between Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes, and out through the audience, here comes Jon Moxley. Here comes Bryan Danielson. Here come the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and one other. You give me any
Hangman Page.
Who?
Hangman Page.
Hangman Page. And the last person out that fucking down to that ring, MJF. And they attack the WWE. The big attack happens. They go back and the big talk is you got Moxley out there, and you got Bryan Danielson leading the charge against the WWE. And MJF, who's talking WWE this, WWE that. Huge attack. It would be the most talked about thing in professional wrestling since Hogan slamming fucking Andre at WrestleMania 3. Think about that. It would be bigger than the NWO invasion angle.
You just made Hogan's WrestleMania moment that much bigger, but it really wasn't that big.
But it was to us back in 1988 or 87, whatever it was. But hear me out. So then it sits, and you let it come up, and people start tuning to AEW to see when it's going to happen. Nah, nothing happens. And then all of a sudden, you let the talk build up. Hey, they're not going to do nothing. It's a WWE, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, one night you do the big main event, Kenny Omega versus so-and-so, Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, you have Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, the Usos, and pick two other fucking people, right? You name them, right? And
Sheamus and Drew McIntyre.
But you
fuck
would have
that,
to be
you
set,
would. You put
right?
your badasses.
You
put a Sheamus. You
could do a Sheamus, yeah.
You got to. You put Sheamus. You put Drew McIntyre. They've been the heads, man.
But
Kevin Owens,
well,
Kevin
KO,
Owens,
but
Sami Zayn,
and
the
you won't.
Usos, and definitely
So
Seth Rollins, maybe
hear me
even
out. Ready?
Finn Balor, AJ Styles.
Well, that's one of the people I would say that would be part of that going to AEW and attacking them. And then instead of a SummerSlam, you do still do your SummerSlam, but there's one pay-per-view in a summer at a stadium that seats over 100,000 people. It will absolutely sell out in a fucking day. AEW versus WWE. Super show. One show, one pay-per-view. Think about it. It would be the biggest show in probably wrestling.
You know what the lousy part about that is, though, and I love the idea, and many people have came up with the idea. It won't. You know why? Because there's too many when push comes to shove. There's too many selfish people when it comes to the organizational and the product. Because they're gonna be like, why does your guy get to go over my guy and this, that, or the other? Now, I want to bring a highlight thing. I want to bring something that could honestly come to fruition in 2 years. Is AEW even on a major television platform in 2 years now that Triple H has taken over WWE?
Yes, they are. Yeah, they're going to remain on. They'll remain where they are. AEW is going to they're going to remain.
I hear you. Yeah. But if their numbers keep up the way they are, TBS could end up pushing them to the side.
Nah, I don't.
They're not getting They're not getting that $1 million. They're not getting that million. The million viewership. And what if Triple H taking over the 1 million plus goes to back up to better numbers, close to 2 million? What if Monday Night Raw escalates to that and AEW Wednesday nights still stay at 900,000?
Well, again, that's the need for. That would almost be a need for Tony Khan to call Triple H and say,
why can I and push? I understand. Like, we all want to see this. If Tony Khan calls me and I'm outdrawing him by say my programming goes up to 1.5 billion from 1 billion to some weeks almost 2 million people viewing, and you're only getting 900,000. Why do I even want? Why honestly do I want to even give you the time of day? To help your product grow.
I'm going to tell you why. Because without competition, good competition, your product gets stale. I'm going to point out something to you. Muhammad Ali needed Joe Frazier. Okay, Joe Frazier was AEW. Muhammad Ali's WWE.
Yeah,
Muhammad Ali knew I need that.
My walls. I love Muhammad Ali.
I know you love him.
You know, I know all about Muhammad.
Right? Think about it. And this is a business of entertainment. Triple H is smart enough to realize I don't want to bury. I want my competition there.
No, he doesn't want to bury him. But why at the same time when I'm outdrawing you on television 2-1? Why do I want to give you a chance?
It's a simple answer. Because the second the WWE shows up on AEW television, everybody is tuning in on fucking Monday to see what happens next. Everybody is tuning in on Friday to see what's happening.
And then everybody who never watched AEW is tuning in on Wednesday. So why give people who never watched the product?
Because you're generating money because you got people watching. People buying T-shirts.
So all right, hear me out. So I do a 6-month feud where my wrestlers go on AEW television. You're drawing 900,000 up to that point. All of a sudden, the next 6 months, your 900,000 goes up to goes up to like 1.25 million.
Okay, so you just added. So you're saying 1.25 million. So you just gained 125, 100, 100,
You went from 900.
right?
You went from
You
900,000.
got 350,000 viewers additional.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's why. Because an additional 350,000.
But what do I get for that? But listen to me. What do I get for that?
You're gonna get 350,000 of their viewers who weren't watching your product to tune into your product now. So now you're going from, say, 1.5 million to 1,085,000.
I'm gonna ask you this: once the feud is over, how long do those viewers stay in tune for?
What if those? That's the nature of the beast.
I get you. But you don't think there's a person in a boardroom thinking like me right now? Go, why should I give you any piece of my pie?
Because the difference is, you need someone like me to think and explain the same thing. Is you got to hit it while it's hot. It's like investing in a company when you know that they're gonna peak, and you sell at that highest investment. Because that company starts to derail and comes back down. You have to get it while it's hot. You have to generate the buzz, make it happen, and then when it settles back down,
Could I tell you this though?
When it settles back down, you're never gonna get below, like the WWE is at, say, let's just say hypothetical number. WWE, let's say their viewership's 1.5 million. Let's say it goes up to 2 million because of this. You're never gonna drop below that 1.5 million ever again. Because you did this. If anything, your norm now becomes, say, you go up to 2 million, but then you drop down to, say, 1.7. You still gained in the end 200,000 viewers.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Because you did this. And eventually, yes, it will come back to earth, but why not generate and make the most money you can, even in a short amount of time, whatever it may be? You do it. It's good for the business. It's about the business. It's about wrestling. And at the end of the day, people will talk about it. Like, this way, like, what's a wrestling thing that you will, when I say to you, what is the number one thing in wrestling you'll always remember for you? What is your, like, oh my God, this is the biggest moment for me in professional wrestling?
The night Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon showed up on WCW television.
Okay, so there's a moment that will go, it goes, and it's still talked about to this day, right? For me, it was when Hulk Hogan came out and turned. To me, that's a night that will never be forgotten. Think about if they did this angle in the future, it will be talked about for 40 years after it happened.
I'm not doubting you of anything, but convincing all the people of greed that your company is better than my company and your company only gets 900,000 views.
No, brother,
listen to me.
Like that, though.
But yes, it's big business.
You're right. It does.
Big business.
But here's the thing. You have to, I mean, unfortunately, it'll never happen because the networks won't allow that to happen. I don't think it would happen, but maybe it does.
The network can't tell you who you can have on TV and who you can't.
If your name is Fox, you absolutely can, because Fox owns the leasing rights to SmackDown. Raw is different. Different. Fox,
if you tell me that Fox themselves, if they knew that Friday Night SmackDown there was going to be 4 AEW superstars on that television program, they would not deny it.
No, they may not deny it, but I'm just telling you, they can tell you, Fox can tell you, no, you can't put that person on the show. They can. They own the leasing rights to SmackDown. They lease SmackDown, technically, for their product. WWE still owns it, but they lease it. Unlike Raw, Raw's a little different. But I'm telling you, you're right. Greed is going to be the biggest thing, and I agree with you, because it's not the wrestlers who.
Because I'd be that person if I was the WWE. I'm sorry to say, I love all this shit you're saying to me. I'm a wrestling, and I'm going to tell you right to your face, I'm a wrestling fan first and foremost.
Of course you are.
Have been since I was a little kid. I would love to give this. I would love to give this. And I would love to be enthusiastic as you. But I'm going to tell you this, Mr. AEW. The
I'm
reason
not
why
a wrong person.
I'm
I
just
am
going
not.
to tell
I
you
haven't watched
this.
AEW in 3 months.
The reason, well, if he was representing him, I'm telling you why. At this point in time, my friend, you guys get 900,000 views on a weekly basis. I get over 1 million views on 2 different shows, 2 different platforms, which in all combined eyes to me is over 2 million views a week on my live product.
Yeah.
When you have 2 live products, one gets 900,000 views and the other gets negative 900,000 views,
Whoa.
and you should probably do away with that.
So, and I'm
Which
going to tell you
I would
right
say
now,
this Rampage is horrible.
Oh, I know. But I'm going to tell you right now, if I'm sitting in AEW's chair and you say that to me, I'm going to say to you, well, then I guess you don't like money. Because think of the money. Hold on.
I love money.
Think of the money that we're going to generate from this. You're going to make more money in the end. I'm going to make more money in the end.
I'm not, see, you haven't let me fit. All I'm saying is y'all looking at me, who I get up to 2 million views a week of my products. At least 2 million eyes are on my 2 products, while y'all lucky if you got 1.5 million.
Yeah, but
my viewership, along with my internet viewership, far outweighs whatever you're doing. I don't mind getting into. I don't. Yes, I don't mind getting into
a different crowd.
I would think that it's great for the wrestling fans, but it would take a lot on on the W. When it all comes to subside, I just think that at the end of the day, the WWE on the end of the perspective would be looking at getting the biggest size gain, or the big, like, especially the money factor.
You're gonna gain.
Yep.
You're gonna gain because
the money factor. But can I tell you something? Does me getting into bed with you benefit me more or benefit you more? Not now. Not now. Hold on. 6 months down the road, we do a 6-month deal. We let this go on for a year, and then it's all over with. 3 years down. You really think the WWE? Hold on.
Benefits more.
3 years down the road, you think the WWE benefits more?
Absolutely, they do.
I'm going to be honest.
I'm going to tell you why right now, and I'm going to end the conversation for you because we're running.
All right.
Definitely well past
time.
We
got 5 minutes.
Here's why the WWE benefits more, because AEW has always been the company that said we have an open door. Our open door. It was always the WWE that didn't want to open the forbidden door. It was always been no. The fact that WWE smashes down the forbidden door, takes their competition, goes head to head with them, and walks, and it was all said and done, and they go their separate ways when it's done, WWE benefits more because they're the bigger company, and everyone knows it. They're not going anywhere.
I know
everybody will remember.
I honestly believe viewership-wise, yep.
Everyone will remember the day, yes, the day AEW attacked the WWE, but they're also going to remember the day the WWE retaliated, and that the WWE gains more viewers than they already have now because of it. WWE gains in the end because they're going to last longer. Yeah. They are. They're going to. They're on 2 networks versus 1. You get what I'm saying? And at the end
I'm not going to ever deny that the WWE is going to last longer.
And I'm going to tell you how.
But I think it benefits. I think it benefits money-wise and viewership-wise, only for the simple fact that WWE will always have the mass viewership. Yeah, but I think AEW will benefit very largely.
No, they're going to benefit, but
for
that's
a little.
The idea.
At one point in time, the benefit will be in favor in AEW's corner. Yes, but ultimately, I think no matter what, WWE as a conglomerate will always outweigh everybody.
That's why you do it, because the WWE has nothing to lose and all to gain from this.
And at the same point in time, when you get writers from the WWE with what you just said right there, the WWE If you
Has
here to
nothing
tell
to
me that
lose.
you believe that, so why, if I believe I'm better than you to begin with,
No, no, no,
why
no.
do I
You just
even
hear what I
want to
said.
rub
Because you have
elbows with you?
nothing to lose.
Yeah,
At the end of the day,
you have nothing to lose.
generating
I understand
money.
that, but the way I
Money.
take, yes, I know, not
Why
in the
would you
money.
not want money?
I understand that, but what you're telling me at the end of the day, the WWE has nothing to lose. So in my mental mind, when you say that the WWE has nothing to lose, it's because I already know I'm the better and superior company
That
than
has nothing to do.
you
I get that.
are.
I get
And
that.
realistically,
Bro, it's like
I
taking
honestly, with all the stuff I do as the WWE worldwide tool right now, I outgain you with or without you. I would be doing this if I was a WWE
you're
person.
talking
I
out.
would be doing this for the fans.
You're not, well, that's part of it. But
Yes,
the fans are the ones who are keeping you in business.
and
And that's the
are we
thing.
as the
If
WWE
I'm
hurt?
a fan,
Is
right,
the
hear me out.
WWE hurt for business? Answer that question.
I think a lot of them were hurting for business for a while. Not now.
Is the
But
WWE hurting for business? Every quarter when they come out, are they not breaking record numbers? Yes, they are. Who would you rather have what company would you rather be employed by right now, knowing job? Put it this way, for job security reasons, who would you rather have a job with?
you really want me to answer that question?
Yeah, job security
All
wise.
right. 2 weeks ago, I would tell you AEW because those guys aren't worried about getting released every 6 months. Now,
No.
with Triple H and Stephanie, I'd probably say WWE. And that's true. I'm sorry. Like, Vince was very volatile, and me being who I am, let's say I was a professional, if you or I were in the WWE as wrestlers, we would be on our seats with Vince because we're not the land of the giants. We're 5 foot. You're what, 5'6"? I'm 5'7", right? You know what I mean? We could be the best wrestlers in the world. It wouldn't matter. In AEW, that would matter. But now you're asking me, I would say WWE, obviously. But again, if I am a business person, if I'm in the WWE and I say, we have nothing to lose, we have everything to gain, whether it's 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, or a year. If I can tell you, you're the WWE, and I'm coming to you and I'm telling you, I'm gonna make you more money in 6 months than you would have made with doing this. You have zero to lose, everything to gain from it. You lose nothing. Yes, you're doing it for the
then
fans.
Why haven't then answer
You're
this
doing
question?
it for the fans, and you're putting money in your pocket. And I come to you and I say, hey, let's go do 100,000 seat arena. You take 60% of the gate. I take 40 because I'm the lesser company. Your champion beats my champion. We'll do a gimmick. Your champion title will go title versus title. Your champion goes over, and then we'll do something on television till we get it back and call it a day, right? You have nothing to lose. You got everything to gain. And at the end of the day, you just gained long-term at least a quarter of the AEW fans that turned the product of WWE off because they were so off-put by it. Now they're turning that dial back on because
I think with Triple H alone, a lot of those people that were turned off by the WWE product have now returned.
Not as many as you think, brother. It's going to take time, but something like this will be the most talked about thing. And for Triple H to have his stamp to say that was my design, that was my baby, I got that to happen. I was one of the people that was the architect behind that. He will go down in wrestling history.
You do know that Tony Khan and Triple H do know each other, right?
I know that. Yeah, I know. And I think
what people don't realize is Tony Khan, he's been around for about 15 years.
I know that. I know that. Yeah. He's
been around for 15 years.
He's a big wrestling mark. He always was.
He used to be backstage a lot at WWE
shows. Him backstage at WWE when they were at Jacksonville a couple years ago before he bought into AEW.
Yep. So he gets along. Yep. I think
Fucking
Vince.
Ted Turner was on WWE television before he owned fucking WCW.
Oh yeah, I know that.
So, but
Listen,
you know,
I look at it this way: push comes to shove. At the end of the day, I would never want title for title and another champion going over,
no, but I'm just saying in general.
unless
that's
it was
the
agreed.
pitfall
Hear me
thought.
out. Say you said to me, "Oh no, we want to do the title exchange, but we want your champion. We want the champion on television." And then the same would happen. I could see that happening to a certain extent, but like say a couple of months to keep the ratings going. But then again, the element of surprise to make the champions go to a 60-minute Iron Man match, then go to a 15-minute no judge's decision overtime, and even the judges split it, that it keeps the companies and each champion like so strong. They just went head to head for 1 hour 15 minutes, and the judges even determine at the judges
Yeah, but that's you
decision.
can't do just as professional wrestling. You can't do judges.
I
Everyone knows
understand
it's
that.
fucking scripted. You
It's a
can't do
work,
that.
yeah.
That gimmick wouldn't work. But what would work is I wouldn't say 60-minute, and you're right, because you'll never see a title. But what would happen if, say, Britt Baker's the champion again, and all of a sudden, I put my title up against any bitch in the back. I don't care what company you work for, blah, 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 blah. And out comes Sasha Banks or Charlotte Flair. Or even better, a returning Becky Lynch shows up and says, I'm the man. With her WWE gear on, and says, I'm the man. I'll take your title back to Raw. Not the world title, because that's kind of hot. Or you do a thing with Roman Reigns. Not title for title, but champion versus champion. Who's the better champion? Roman Reigns versus John fucking Moxley. You do something like that. It would be huge. I mean, we've seen it before, but
I think can I tell you something? I think in the next year to two, when a lot of these guys ex WWE contracts come up, that
you ready for this one?
Yeah.
The Miz is out on on television. He's doing his gimmick. I'm the greatest here, blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden, my name is Maxwell, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, what the fuck? And it's MJF cutting him off on the screen.
They may have killed him
and you see him
already,
do the thing.
buddy.
It's like, you need to shut up, Miz, because I'm your whatever.
The AEW might have killed him, man.
I know.
They're saying by taking him off of television,
right?
And
or Kenny Omega's on television. I want to wrestle the best. I want the best, and all you hear is huh, 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 and you hear the music, and then I don't want none. We don't want, and you see it's AJ Styles, and you're like, everybody would want to see AJ versus Kenny.
Yep. Or Finn,
and you just
or
do
Seth,
and you just do it. Telling you, brother. Hunter, if you're watching this show, give me a call. I'll come work for you. Don't worry. I'll write your shit like you wouldn't believe. Just call me. Listen, I am the Gazoo. I'm the booker. That's it. I write it up for you. That's it. Sing, sing. Where's my pen? I write in pencil, though.
All right, brother. Well, like you said, we're getting to that 90-minute mark.
That's a long show for us tonight.
Long show.
This was a good one, I think. You know, look, the Sox were a big talk tonight. Deshaun Watson, NFL. And then this was a good one because, you know, honestly, I haven't been able to get onto the other show. But I think you and I, you know, when we talk wrestling, the juices start flowing, kid. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
We could almost dedicate our own hour of wrestling talk. Another hour.
We could.
But
we just did 23 minutes.
We did.
So, all right, brother. I think that was a great one this week. So I want to thank everybody out there on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube for watching. The YouTube channel is actually growing. It doesn't have the hundreds, but it's growing to 27, 28 people. So there's more people that are coming along and doing things. Within the next few, I'm going to try myself this HTML gimmick to try the Spotify release myself if I can, because the person that was supposed to help is just, things aren't going great for that person right now. So I don't want to put more things on their
Well,
lap.
hey, if you see this
And
on YouTube, smash the like button. If you don't like it, too bad. I'm sorry you didn't like it. But if you like the show program and you watch it on YouTube, hit the like button. Tell your friends about the show. Yes, it's a Boston sports talk show. We are talking from cheap seats and nosebleeders, but as you can see, we do talk not just Boston sports. We talk all sports. We talk professional wrestling. And, of course, it's,
hey,
Rumble and Gazoo.
I'm Rumble.
I'm the Gazoo.
And when it's all said and done, we talk sports better
than you.
So with that being said, we'll see you all next week. Tune in live on Facebook Wednesday nights, or just catch the 24/7 archived repeat on YouTube, or I believe it's also on Twitch. It's also Twitch it on Twitch. Have a good one, everyone.